Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leigh Bolel. I am the rabbi of Bethel Jacob Synagogue here in Des Moines. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all this evening to this Yom HaShoah program, in which the Jewish Federation of Greater Des Moines will be honoring Holocaust survivor David Wolnerman. It is an extra honor for me to chair this evening's program, as David has become like my own Zaidi in Des Moines, as well as Michael and Missy, personal friends of my wife Devorah and I, and not least Eitan and Benny. We have with us this evening from out of state, Alan and Amy Wolnerman from Florida, Rabbi Daniel Wolnerman from Toronto, Sherry and Yitzi Bardas from Nevada, and Eli from New York. We also would like to welcome Roseanne and Ed Sofer from Indiana, Nancy and Tim Swab from Chicago. It is a pleasure to be here, too, with my rabbinic colleagues who are with us this evening, Rabbi Berg, Rabbi Adlon Blank, Rabbi Jacobson, Rabbi Kaufman, and once again, Rabbi Daniel Wolnerman. Before we start, I would like to recognize the incredible team that has enabled this event to happen, from general organization through to the book publication of David. A sincere thank you for all that you have done. This evening, we honor and remember all those that perished during the Holocaust, and honor those whom survived, of which we have so few today. David and his wife Jenny are the last two known survivors of the Holocaust in the state of Iowa. Through my tenure as rabbi, David is one of those people that I anticipate seeing every Shabbat in services, not just because he stays awake during my sermon, but because the warmth that one feels in the room when he walks in, and the amount of kisses he gets upon entering shul, is testament to his greatness. The impact that he has had on people, from school children to youth, college students and up, have been impactful on so many levels. Impactful in the sense of, here is a man who has endured more than any can imagine, yet he is an example to us all. An example of taking the opportunities in life, utilizing them and savoring them. His faith in God is unshakable, and his passion and determination that no one can ever forget the atrocities of the Holocaust has left his mark on many. David is an ambassador for so many Holocaust survivors and continues to spread the message that was and is of utmost importance, to not just never forget, but be proactive in Holocaust education. Teach our children from a young age and all those that can learn more. Our first speaker this evening is here because he has so much respect for David. In October of 2013, Iowa's Holocaust Memorial was dedicated by the state capitol building here in Des Moines. At the dedication ceremony, Major General Timothy R., Adjutant General of the Iowa National Guard, spoke about General Eisenhower's liberation of Auschwitz. After his talk, David Wolnerman mentioned to Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds that he was a survivor liberated by General Eisenhower. She in turn mentioned this to Major General R. Having never met an Auschwitz survivor, the Major General invited David to his office at Camp Dodge. David thought he would be there for 10 minutes or so. Those 10 minutes turned into an hour and a half. I've heard multiple times from David the positive impression that the meeting made on him. Time was not an issue for Major General Orr when it came to David Wolnerman. I encourage you all to ask David on any given day what he has in his pocket, and I can tell you with certainty what will be inside: a special, unique coin that the Major General gave him. Without further ado, please welcome Major General Timothy R., Adjutant General of the Iowa National Guard.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to spend a few minutes to share my story. This is a special day in our community, and a special day for the Wolnerman family and for David. It's a special experience that personally I've had many in 36 years of military service, but I can't count on my hands, if maybe not in one finger, the experience that I had and the opportunity I had when I had the chance to meet David 3 years ago. As was mentioned earlier, it started back when I was asked to present during the dedication of the memorial. And I was completely honored because I represent 9,400 soldiers and airmen that we call National Guardsmen and women. And when you look back in history and you look at who formed the divisions that worked for Eisenhower, that is General Eisenhower, later president, you will find that it was the 45th Division and the 42nd Division we call the Rainbow Division out of New York and the 45th out of Oklahoma. Those were guardsmen and women who did what Eisenhower asked to do when the orders came out, which was to liberate the camps. And so that meeting and that opportunity started, and it ventured into another opportunity that was mentioned that was very special. And that was the hour and a half, could have been days, that I sat and I listened to David tell his story. And that's important for me because what I didn't tell him is I had grandparents, 3 uncles that served in World War II, that served in the European divisions. Though they weren't part of the 42nd, weren't part of the 45th, they were part of the force that liberated and ultimately freed those that were imprisoned in camps like Dachau, Auschwitz, and it goes on and on and on. Inspired so much that I took my family to Germany 2 years ago after the opportunity, after the memorial. And we went to what many would say München, or we went to Munich, and we had a chance to go, and I took my family of a 15 and a 14-year-old and my wife to spend a day and to walk through the gates and to walk the grounds of Dachau, so that I could maybe understand, and more important, I could share with my own children what this was really all about. Because as we sit here today and we look around the world, I sometimes wonder, without being political, have we learned a lesson from World War II? And we see so much tragedy all over. So events like today and opportunities to recognize those that are not only survivors but represent those that we've lost is key to the future of our generations. So it's great to see the young people that are here and the stories that we have to continue to tell, because it's really all about, the future. And so what was mentioned was an opportunity on the third meeting. This is the third meeting to meet David once again after a year goes by. And it was talked about, he received a coin. And so I showed up here tonight. I had an opportunity, I looked over, and the first thing I saw, David was reaching into his pocket. And to think that he still carries my coin. See, this coin is what we call a commander's coin. It won't buy you anything. Don't tell David I said that, all right? He may think this was actually a piece of gold, but it won't. But what it does represent is, it represents excellence. Excellence in life, excellence in leadership, and excellence as a servant. Whether you're a soldier, you're an airman, or you've been a prisoner. And so I just would like to leave you with, on the back of this coin is I present these to men and women in uniform, in most cases, who represent excellence. And in the back of the coin is the 2-star flag of the Adjutant General. It has the state of Iowa, and it says, presented for excellence. And all around the coin, and the coin is shaped like a dog tag, which is personal to each and every individual soldier and airman and service member, are the values of the Army and the Air Force. And I will tell you, as the man that I gave this to, and very few civilians that I can say I ever gave a coin to, deserve this coin more than anyone that I know, for his excellence, for his values, and for what he represents for not only this community, this state, but our nation and our world. And so thank you for all that you've done and what you've done to make us a better country and a better world. Thank you, David.
I think we're here tonight to honor David Wolnerman, but I think we should also take a moment to honor General Orr, not only for his commitment to the excellence of our armed forces and all that our armed forces stand for in defense of freedom, in defense of our country, but for his care for the Jewish people and for our history and for our connection. So I'd ask, if you please, let's give him an ovation for all the work that General Orr has done. Thank you. Now, there are others who will be talking mostly about David tonight. I will be talking mostly about Yom HaShoah. Zachor, remember. One of the most important themes in the Jewish tradition. We have just remembered our journey from Egypt, from slavery to freedom. Not long before that, we remembered Amalek and read the story of Esther, stories of persecution of our people. We are constantly urged to remember. Our tradition doesn't just believe that he who forgets history is destined to repeat it, Instead, our tradition believes that history often repeats, and those who forget or ignore the lessons of history, how to cope with threats as they unfold, will not long survive when they do. We have both a justifiably paranoid tradition and a tradition that believes in miracles and preaches hope amid darkness. We've learned too well that people who threaten to do us harm and have the means to do so must be taken at their word. The greatest sin of our age is not indifference to the suffering of others. It is indifference to the threats that lead to the preventable suffering of others. It is seeing rail lines on their way to camps and not bombing them. It is watching genocide unfold while hoping that sanity will prevail. Failure to act against those who threaten has time and again led to a byproduct of that failure, to discussions of not standing idly by as those threats are put into action. Too often those threats have been made against our people. The nation and people of Israel must constantly be on guard against threats from those capable of carrying them out. This week we are to remember the times when threats were made against our people and carried out. We remember the victims who perished in the flames of hatred. We remember the heroes and the survivors. We remember rebels and warriors. We remember the indefatigable spirit, the indefatigable neshamot, the unquenchable spirits of our people who endured and survived. People like David Wolnerman, who we honor tonight. And we remember so many stories of sadness and difficulty, of hope and courage. We strive to make true the words of Professor Yehuda Bauer, "Thou shalt not be a victim. Thou shalt not be a perpetrator. But above all, thou shalt not be a bystander." That is the meaning of never again. We are a people who see that the best in others and often have trusted in the world to stand up to evil, find ourselves disappointed. We are like Rabbi Jacob Rader Marcus, who wrote in 1935 during the rise of the Nazis, "There is doubt, however, that the fear of widespread pogroms at the present is well grounded. It is probable that the masses of the party, if not some of the leaders, originally envisaged a program which would wipe out the entirety of the Jewish community. The response of the world to the atrocity reports made it clear, however, that such a policy could never be put into execution. Sadly disappointed." We are a people constantly hoping that history will not repeat. We do our best to foster relationships and promote peace where there is strife. Yet we do not stop there. We strive to repair our world and bring about a time when spears may be turned into plowshares, when there will be no need for weapons, for war will have ceased in our world, because people will prize each other's humanity, each other's prosperity, each other's life and blessings. We are a people gazing at our world today and seeing anti-Semitism once again on the rise, morphing as it always has into new forms. We see it from university campuses to marching in the streets of Europe. We are a people who yet trusts in the good of humanity in spite all that we have experienced as a people. And we know that no matter how long it storms, the sun will eventually burst forth from the clouds. We are like Anne Frank, a young woman hiding in an attic during some of the darkest days of our people's history, saying, "Despite everything, I believe that people are really good at heart, and I must uphold my ideals, for perhaps the time will come when I will be able to carry them out." We live in that time. We can make a difference. We are a people who hid in attics in Amsterdam and fought in the Warsaw Ghetto. We made matzah with portions of meager rations saved because maintaining our Jewish tradition sustains our faith and our hope. We are a people who are a light in the darkness, who cry out when we see injustice, and who, knowing that we cannot alone complete the work of making our world a fit place for our messianic hope, nonetheless refused to stop trying to accomplish that goal. We are Jews. We hope, we challenge, we mourn, and we remember.